I'm going to talk a little bit more about that, the question of rational versus irrational. And I'm thinking, somebody said, God is just a feeling some people have. It's irrational. It's a feeling people have. Okay. And you don't like it and you feel uncomfortable about it, so you build an entire, argument against that. But that's exactly what people do. People don't like something. Let's say if you don't like something, before you even go into reasoning, you have to oppose it. So you have to kind of build an opposition. People who don't like the idea of God or all the things that religion has been to them or what they have believed it to be have to build an opposition to it. You have to build an opposition to it. If somebody's going to take your house, you got to build an opposition to that. If you want to keep your house. If somebody's getting ready to fire, you have to build an opposition to it. People have to build an opposition. But when people do things, sometimes they come up with systems where you can't oppose what they say. You can't come up with an opposition. For example, like when my doctor wanted to change my insulin pump. Well, I'm sure she had like a open and shut case. Well, I want to adjust your insulin pump. And I said, no. It's like, and then I said, no, I'm not going to do it. She started giving her big explanation, and I was supposed to go, okay, sure, all right, which most patients probably would. I'm sure 99.999% of our patients would go along and let you do it. But I happen to be that 0.00001 person who didn't. No. I think she couldn't. She was like in disbelief. Oh my God. How could you oppose me? Easily. It's just like in my job where I was before when I was working in admissions. How could I not go along with their program? If you go along with our program, so they tell us, you're going to get all kind of benefits. It's going to work for you, and you're going to have a better work environment, and it's going to be a lot of fun, and you're going to enjoy yourself. In other words, they made a shitload of promises, kind of like a politician. If you vote for me, you're going to get a lot of stuff. You're going to get all kind of things. You're going to lower taxes, and you're going to get better health benefits, and we're going to reform health care. You make a lot of promises to people, and people get excited, so they go along. They agree to something because of promises. But then, once people agree to something, it's just like when a con artist comes along. They'll tell you something. If you invest $1,000 in this company, you're going to get, you're going to get like 20 times as much. You're going to come back with checks of $30,000, $50,000. I have one customer who, and of course they always got to give you the testimonies. One customer said that they did such and such thing. This guy got 100,000. This guy got 50,000. This person did that. Of course. And the whole thing is to liberate you from your cash. Just like these people, to liberate you from your freedom. For lack of a better way to put it. But what you do is you give them work, you work real hard, you put a lot of effort, you build up stuff, and then at the end of the day, you don't get any payoff. All the stuff that was promised to you, you don't get it. I think about that time with my friend, why I was so picky about the thing with her birthday promise. My thing was that, first of all, she shouldn't have promised she was going to take me to lunch on my birthday. I don't need that. You don't really need to promise me stuff like that. But I think my whole life is I get tired of people promising things and then not delivering. Even though sometimes people did that and they didn't mean no harm. They really didn't mean any harm by doing it. Sometimes in the moment, when a person promised something, they really felt it. In their heart of hearts, they actually felt what they were saying. Like my uncle. We're going to live in this fancy apartment, drive a fancy car, do all this stuff. He was getting money from a lawsuit. It took 14 years for it to go through court. He finally got the money, but he didn't keep his promise. And I'm sure at the moment he was promising, he meant it. See, I learned one thing is try as much as I can not to make promises if I'm not certain. I have to feel pretty certain, and it's about a feeling, but I have to feel pretty sure that I'm going to be able to follow through on that promise. Because I don't like promising things to people and then not following through. That's the thing that used to get me at work. When they used to promise things and then they didn't follow through. And sometimes I knew ahead of time. It wasn't that I was psychic. It's just knowing patterns. It's knowing, it required no more psychic ability than your psychic ability to know that the sun will rise tomorrow. It's not psychic. And you don't really know it. I mean, in a true sense, you're predicting it. And more than likely, it probably is going to happen. I mean, shit. And if it don't, oh well, we'll go pay off on that bet. The thing is that people promise things. And other people, the ones who are receiving the promise, they get excited. So they cough up all the work or the money or the goods or the services or the whatever. They sign contracts, they do things. And then later on, when it comes time for the payoff, they don't get the payoff. It's all about business. When you get down to it, the bottom line is business. Science is business. Scientists promise something, and they got to deliver. If science never delivered, it would be pointless. Same thing with religion. Religion has to pay off, and religion does. Both pay off. Science and religion pay off. They pay off in different ways, but they do pay off. You know, the bottom line of anything in business is always about the payoff. It's about the payoff. It's about getting paid. A promise is made, work is rendered, and a person is compensated. If you don't get that compensation, it's a cycle. It's a cycle. It's a system. Promise and payoff. Promise and payoff. If that doesn't happen, something's wrong.